Hello. You're listening to Heart with Saima, the podcast show for people searching for that courageous person within us who wants to be inspired by listening to stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. I'm Saima Dillon, your host. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be here. Let's dive right in. Let me introduce my friend and photographer, Omar Ramos. Born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, he was always around creativity. His family loved music and art ever since he could remember. He was introduced to photography in 1981 by his brother-in-law, who let him use his Pentax K1000 camera. Ever since then, he was hooked. In 1982, he took it seriously and began assisting New York City fashion photographers, Terry Weir and Phyllis, Cuington. There he began his career in commercial portrait photography. His photography has been seen in national publications and trade circulations nationwide and been published through marketing and music productions. He enjoys having a variety of clients from commercial, portrait, and editorial projects. He works closely with you to find out exactly how you want to be portrayed and to produce the best possible results. Plus, you'll have a good time doing it. And I can vouch for that. He's a photographer with a love for storytelling. His clients include top talent and model agencies and small to Fortune 500 corporations, as well as private individuals. Without waiting anymore, let me bring Omar. Hey, Omar.
Hey.
How are you doing, Omar?
I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I am doing fabulous. No complaints. Just a beautiful day here in Dallas today after a chaotic week with snow and being, just confined inside the house and power outages and water issues. But again, you know what? No complaints. People had it a lot worse. And but you're in sunny Florida.
Yes. Sorry. I know you're feeling bad for me, but I will be here in Florida. I've been here through the whole storm. I missed it by a day, and by the time I return, it should be. I heard the weather is nice and sunny now. So.
It is. But maybe we'll have an early spring. So, Omar, I'm going to hand over the screen to you, and I will let you share your journey and your love for photography and what makes you do what you do. So it's your moment. It's your pitch. Here you go.
Okay. Well, I've been a photographer, as you had shared, I guess professionally since 1982, 83. And I've had the amazing opportunity to work with so many different types of companies and individuals. For 30 years, I've been in this industry, and I've gained so much from it, where one day I might be working for a Fortune 500 company, or the next day I might be doing a senior portrait, or in the day after that, I'm working with a top model for an agency, or I'm shooting for a publication. Every day is almost something different, and I guess that's what keeps me going. I truly enjoy all the relationships I've built throughout the years, and so many friendships have come through my photography and working with people. So as long as God continues to give me strength and give me vision and insight, I'm going to keep doing exactly what I love to do, and hopefully for many, many more years to come.
So, Omar, right there, of course, in the background, I do want to point out that there's a picture of me, and I've placed it there simply because, it's your vision. I wanted to, for the simple reason, to bring you out here to express my gratitude for how you did your vision, because I was simply clueless. And when I knew I wanted to get my photography done, but I just did not know where to start. I just had one thing in mind, which was very contradictory to the portrait, to the business images that I was wanting to get, and that was that I really wanted to look glamorous, and I wanted to just feel like it was my moment. It to You're not supposed to feel that. You're not supposed to want those feelings from brand photography. But that's what I wanted. I wanted to feel glamorous, and I wanted to feel like Cinderella, and you were able to do that. So I have to tell you that I had no idea that it was going to take the amount of time that it did. The way you put it all together, the way you did multiple angles, and the straightening of the head, or the hands and the fingers and the knee and the foot, and I mean, so much goes into photography.
It sure does. Yeah, it's. I think a lot of people, especially today, don't have the idea or concept, because we're so used to having one of these in our hands where we could take a picture instantaneously. And but when it comes to true portrait photography, I've been taught the old ways, and we want to make every photo as close to perfect as possible, so that we're not doing a lot of Photoshop or doing a lot of this stuff and that stuff. That's you. The way we lit, the way you pose, the way you work, that is you, and that's what we're trying to represent when we do our photography.
Because every person is different. For me, it was literally, the first time in my life that I was doing photography. And you already know, when we met and we sat down and we discussed, of course, you are a pro in your field. You've been doing it for 30 years. So, and me never having done, and I make fun of myself that, I can't even take a selfie, because, when I try to hold that in my hand, I'm just so conscious of just trying to photograph. I might not lack vanity, but I have a really difficult time in holding that phone to take my own picture. And then working with you and, your team, and, not feeling rushed, not feeling, and you actually guided me with the little details. And I think that's what photography is, right? It's an art, and everything is not meant for everyone to do.
Yeah, it's I think photography. There's just like in the industry that you're in, there are people who can tell a story about a house.
Yeah.
The history of the home, or embellish or bring things out that maybe the person just walking through might not see. You see the details of a particular property and what makes it more valuable maybe than the next. And there's a lot of photographers out there that will snap a photo, but there are very few photographers, I believe, that can pull the beauty out of an individual, because most people that I photograph are not professionals.
Yeah.
Most people that I photograph are entrepreneurs, business people, a lot of people who don't actually want to take photos, and I have to make them feel comfortable and be able to understand the process. Just like when we talked through the whole scenario, and then we started putting it together and created this image. So good photographers, and I'm not trying to beat my own drum, but I think good photographers are very patient, and they listen not only just by looking through their vision, but also listen to their customer and see where we can create together, because it's part of your process as well.
And so I do want to discuss the fact that what I did and what is brand photography, which is basically something you do for businesses. Will you explain to the audience the difference between brand photography and just taking regular pictures? Because I know that I continuously wanted you to take glamour shots and you continuously kept on pulling me back and you kept on saying that, no, Saima, you're
Slow
not
down a
getting
little
next time. Not this time. This is brand photography.
I primarily do branding photography. I do a lot of entrepreneur. I just before I left for Florida, I did a dental group. They needed some branding work for their new website. And basically, especially, and I'll talk about this client, I won't mention their names, but I'll talk about this client. They wanted to compete with a larger brand. And they said, this is who we want to be in the same level as. So we had to devise and create images that will put their brand up to that. They want their brand to be expensive. They want their brand to be exclusive. They wanted this kind of Hollywood, California look to their branding. When I visited their website, it didn't look like that. So I, made the suggestions what they needed to bring, and just like you, they stepped up with a wardrobe, makeup, hair, everything, and they came in looking like Hollywood, and that was the brand that they wanted to represent. So and that's what I do with branding photography. When it comes to just a headshot, it's like I need a headshot for my website, or I need a headshot for my company that I work for. It's just a standard portrait. It's going to be good, clean, and all that, but it doesn't really tell a story. You're telling the story about how what type of clients should be contacting you. You're not for everyone. You're for a specific group of people that you want to share your expertise for, and so that's what branding is.
What does, let me rephrase. So brand photography, why is that so essential to create? Why is branding so essential right now? And why is brand photography so essential to branding?
Well, it's like this. You can tell me this number. How many realtors are in the Dallas Fort Worth area?
40,000.
40,000. That's a lot of people.
Yes.
So how do you differentiate yourself from 40,000 realtors? The same thing with photographers. How do I differentiate? There are a lot of good photographers.
Yeah.
But how do I differentiate myself from all these photographers? We select a mantra, pretty much, that tells our story. This is what I do. I'm really good at what I do. I'm different from someone's. I don't like to use the word better. I like to use the word I'm different. I'm different from this photographer because this is what I focus on.
Yeah.
I don't think really good photographers can do everything well. There's product photography, there's real estate photography, there's portraits, and so on and so on. I'm really, really good at portrait photography, and actually I am really, really good at real estate photography, to be honest with you. But those are the things that I'm passionate about. So I show that and I share that with my potential customers. You're passionate about a certain type of client that you work with. So that's what the branding is. So when someone sees your image or see your video or hears your voice, they can distinctly say, wow, I want to work with you, because you don't sound like the cookie cutter, franchise that's all over the place.
The dime a dozen.
The difference between Chick-fil-A, which I just ate at, and McDonald's. I mean, there's a lot more McDonald's out there, but when you crave Chick-fil-A, I drove 20 minutes to find a Chick-fil-A because I was craving a good sandwich. I didn't want something that was just slapped on the grill. So that's the selectiveness of branding.
And I think it's just so important for people to understand, and that's what I'm bringing in today's show as well, is the subject of branding and the importance of distinguishing yourself, and showing. Uh, Putting yourself out there and showing who you are as an individual, your likes, dislikes, what you might be in a private setting, and find the people who resonate with you, because not everyone will resonate with you. And I always tell people, that the world population is over 7 billion. If you are sitting there crying over some people not liking you, just keep in mind that 7 billion population of this world, they are not all going to like you, and that's okay. I mean, don't take
Yeah,
it personally.
our job or my job is not to have everyone love my work.
Yeah.
I just want the people who I want to work with the people that love my work.
Yeah.
And if I spend too much time trying to convince you to like, hey, I'm the guy for your job, then I already lost the battle. Most people who find me, usually on Google or on Facebook or whatever, and the first message I get, I love your work.
Yeah.
I really want to work with you. That's the impulse. That's the relationship builder right there. Instead of, the first thing you should say, how much do you charge? Well, then if you're asking me how much do I charge, you're not really looking to work with me. You're really just shopping around and just kind of just looking at different photographers here and there. I might not be that guy for you. I might not be that person for you.
Yeah.
And it's the same. I'm looking to sell my home. I'm looking for someone that can do the job, that understand my needs and my pain points. So I try to position my work, and when people go to my website, they're either going to love it, or they're going to say I'm too expensive and keep moving on. So that's fine. And that's that. I'm not here for everyone. I'm not doing birthday pictures. Don't call me for your 2-year-old. Heck, I barely do my own grandkids. So, and I'm not trying to sound, I guess, stuffy. I'm trying to sound this is what I did. This is, if you're looking for an amazing portrait, and you want it to be perfect for a magazine or perfect for a billboard or for advertising, or you want to be in D magazine, or you want to be on some publication, I'm that type of person. I can do what I do no matter what in location, on studio, anywhere in the world.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we did when we started our session. And, we had some different plans, and then it was, we were going to go from one place to another, and, but unfortunately it was also very windy that day. And we tried to do the images, but the
weather has its own. Weather has its own mind. So just like this photo that's up right now, she is an influencer for natural hair care. She has over, I believe, I don't know, 1 million followers on YouTube, and I don't know, several 100,000 in Instagram and so on. And so, when you're creating, her whole business is her hair. It's about her hair. And, so you highlight, in your brand, the things that are important, the things that you want to relate to your potential customer.
Yeah. And I think that's why businesses, and this is one of those lessons that I learned during the pandemic. We are still in the pandemic, but in 2020, the necessity for creating this distinction between others and myself, and to put myself out there and to show people different aspects of my personality, and to show people who I am and as an individual, and I love clothes and I love fashion, and that's what is coming out it's things that I resonate with. And I think it also shows that, it shows courage, and it shows conviction, and it shows resilience to, I think it takes a lot of courage to be who you are, and to put it out there for the rest of the world to say, okay, you know what, we do like her, or you know what, she is not our cup of tea, and we go in a different direction. And I think both are completely fine, because I'm not taking it personally, and it's okay. But that's just how it is. And I think that's what, for me, this brand photography was so important, because somewhere I wanted the brand, and I wanted that the glamour to come in there as well, because it was the first time I was doing the photo shoot, and I just wanted to there were so many things that I didn't know, which, of course, the time that we spent when I got there, and you spent going through all my clothes and just rummaging through the trunk of the car and just putting pieces together, with your crew, like, okay, this here, or that doesn't work. Okay, the blue shoe with the blue dress does not work. Okay, use the same silk. I mean, I learned so much from that. And I mean, of course, next time I know you had so much difficulty with the red outfit, and I, after the photography was done, that's when I understood the reason why you were having difficulty in showing those silhouettes and the smooth looks, because the flow was missing. So it was very interesting. What was about photography, Omar, that drew you into it?
Oh, wow. Well, my aha moment, I guess the moment where it was like, this is what I wanted to do. I was actually in a play. I was in a play in Brooklyn, New York. And so during the production, they were taking photos of everyone. And so these photographers, Terry Weir, and they had all these lights, and they had all of these power packs and all of this stuff set up. And I'm looking at them, and back in that day, I had a really nice afro. And so they did a silhouette shot with a light coming behind me. It looked like Black Jesus. And it was so cool. It was a great experience. I mean, this was the film days. This was like way 1981. So I knew then and there, it's like, this is really what I wanted to do. I was kind of searching, I graduated high school and kind of searching exactly what I wanted to do. And I talked to one of the photographers there. He gave me his business card. He said, why don't you come to our studio? And so their studio was in Park Avenue in Manhattan. And so I go to the studio, beautiful 6,000 square foot,
wow,
open studio space, floor to ceiling windows, just and beautiful. And I met Terry Weir for the first time, and we stood at his doorway and talked for a solid hour, just like if I knew him all my life. And it was such a, I guess, a momentous moment in my life.
Yeah.
That, he said, whatever I have available to me, I'm going to give to you. And he basically took me in like some lost puppy, and mentored me. I was never called an assistant. He just said, you'll come work for me and assist, work, on shoots and stuff like that. And for 3 years, I stuck with him, and he taught me everything about photography. I never took a class in photography. I had everything right there in front of me. I learned how to develop film. I learned how to, print film, lighting, loading film, all that stuff like that. I assisted on ads for Coca-Cola. We've done covers for Ebony magazine, Essence magazine, you name it, Italian Bazaar. I was in front of models left and right, you know, and he just gave me incredible access, and it just was something that I kind of took and just kept on going with.
So, two things from what you just said, Omar. How amazing that to find this person. Basically, you know how we as human beings in different capacities have the power that we don't even realize to touch lives and to change lives and to do things where we open our hearts and we open our doors.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we are able to change the whole trajectory of someone's life.
Absolutely.
How powerful.
Yeah. I because of him, I'm able to mentor. I have a mentorship program of my own where I have over close to 250 people in the Facebook group that I mentor privately. And, you know, people can ask me a question anytime, any day. I'm usually up. I don't sleep very much. So I'll get a message that says, hey, how do you do this? Or I really want to learn how to do this. And it is my pleasure to share what was given to me and to share with others the joy of being a photographer. It's not always easy. The business part of it is the business. It's just like any other business. But the passion of photography, what I love doing, and I try to take time to do things that I love and that I enjoy doing. It is definitely important to me, and it's important to give back.
Pay it forward.
Yep. Absolutely.
So just a completely different note, Omar, I'm part of this entrepreneur mentorship program. And my mentor, Sharon Srivastava, the club is called $1 million club. And his thing is that, you know what, as soon as the time is right, you have to pay it forward. And that's what it's about. You know, share everything. It's an open place for everyone to just be free from all these inhibitions and all these set ideas and thoughts in the head, where it's all like, this is about me. I'm not going to share my secrets, or I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. But you share everything. Everything is an open book. And you know what? You are going to pay it forward. And the amazing thing is that once you develop that mindset that, hey, you know what? It's not a big deal. Just share your knowledge. Your whole life changes.
Yeah, absolutely. I've learned early on, you know, because so much is given to me, that the ability, the opportunity to give to someone else. Just last year, or early last year, before the pandemic hit, I had a father and son come that was in my mentorship group, and he couldn't afford to attend a workshop. And I said, well, just come to the studio. You can hang out with me, and so on. And so he brought his 14-year-old son. And so, you know, they assisted during the shoot and all that. And then afterwards, I talked to his son. I said, "Do you enjoy photography?" He says, "Like, I love photography. I really want to learn how to be a good photographer." And I said, "Oh, okay. You know. So, do you have any equipment and stuff?" He said, "No, not really. I don't have much. You know, but I'm starting to put things together." So I went back in my office, in my storage, and I had a big case of equipment that was just sitting there: lights, stands, umbrellas, all the stuff that I've acquired over the years. And I said, "Well, would you promise me one thing?" He said, "What? What? I'm going to give you all of this. I'm going to give this to you, but you have to promise that you have to create with it. You can't just have it, and just can't put it under your bed or in your closet. God gives us tools to use, so you got to promise me you start putting it to use." And he was probably, I mean, I think he floated out of the studio with all that I gave him. But God puts us in position to. I was that kid. I was him. I was his. I was wanting to do something. I didn't have the tools, or I didn't have the equipment or anything like that. And now here I'm in a position where I can bless someone and give it to them and give them an opportunity to enjoy what I enjoy.
And to be able to give exactly what is so precious to you, that takes a lot of courage to do that. But we as human beings don't realize that that once you open your heart and your soul to just that unconditional giving, it comes back to you.
Oh, yes, it does. I personally believe in sowing into people, and I've learned because people sowed into me. You know, I've been in situations that this would be a conversation for another time, but I've been in situations where it's almost like you have to start all over again.
Yeah.
And you know, and people just believe, you know, hand you a check or bring groceries to you, or just, you know, give of themselves because they have belief in you that you're going to, that return on investment, you know, the return on investment of that gift, because you're going to bless more and more and more. It's just going to keep moving forward. So I completely agree about that. You know, I think the older I get, and, you know, the closer I'm getting to retirement, I don't know when that is, but it's going to be all about sowing into other people, to the next generation, teaching and sharing with them, because this is what it's not about living in a big house, you know, or driving the fanciest car. It's knowing that you impacted someone's life for the greater good.
And that right there, and just like you said, Omar, I think life hits you, all of us, in different phases of our life, different stages of our life, different things happen, and we all get tested. We all, at some point or the other, might have to start in different things, going back to ground zero and restarting all over again. But these are all life lessons. But regardless of all these things, you know, the power to touch people's lives in whatever capacity that might be, it's just something. I think it just gives you this, fills you up, consumes you with this amazing energy, adrenaline, where you're like, you know what? It's just a really amazing feeling.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you know, I never, you know, where I'm staying at, I'm in the West Palm Beach area. And so if anyone knows West Palm Beach, this is like one of the richest areas in Florida, about 2 hours away from Miami. And so there's a drive to go to the beach where you drive through all these mega mansions.
Yeah.
I mean, where the yachts pull right behind the mansion.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's like, wow, that's crazy. You know, I know Sylvester Stallone has a mansion over here somewhere and all that. And don't get me wrong, you know, this house is not like that. But I rather give if I have that kind of wealth, and I'm not saying these people don't do that. I'm just saying, me personally, I find more joy where I'm able to be in a position to give than just continue to get.
And touching lives.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why
And I think there's such power in creative arts. It gives you that ability to be able to, you know, music, art, all this. It gives you that ability to be able to utilize this forum as a channel, even to express whatever turmoils you might have internally, or even if you're going through a lost phase. Music, these different things, they give you a place to be able to kind of, put your feelings and emotions on, I don't know if saying paper is the correct word or not, but it gives you that place where it gives you the ability to express yourself.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would not do this if I still didn't enjoy the art. Though, as busy as we can get, I still block out some time where I'm being creative and I'm doing something that I like to do, art, photography that I love to do. Is not necessarily something I would do with a client, but I always block out some time, because if it's always work, and then I start getting stale and I start getting less creative. I'm not pushing the boundaries. I'm not, challenging myself. You always have to challenge yourself. I think, that's why I couldn't do a desk job, because nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's probably more, having a consistent job is always good, but I'm just too much of a free bird that needs to do something different every day.
Yeah. And I completely understand, because even in my own space as a real estate agent, being an entrepreneur it's like an addiction, because, once you are an entrepreneur, no matter what hits you take, no matter what life brings your way, no matter how many losses you incur, but you just cannot go and you cannot work for anyone, because you're just so used to that, that space of where you're being creative, or you have no, you're not accountable to anyone else for your writing your daily story.
Absolutely. Yeah. My family, they keep me accountable, but whatever, if you sing, you should sing. If you write, you should write. If you paint, you should paint. I know too many creative people that, who have amazing talent, but because of life and, they put that talent under the bed and just forget about it. That makes me sad when I see talented people that are not sharing their.
Because a lot of people do that, right? Growing up, people have been, and I myself did that until a certain point to my kids, and to a tiny little extent, I might still, here and there put things, show them, direction, and put things in their mind. But I think you grow up, and until a certain stage of your life, you are a byproduct of your environment. You are a byproduct of the people who were around you giving you advice, byproduct of your parents' expectations and wishes. And then one fine day, you are at that crossroad where you don't recognize that person anymore. And you just cannot, you're not in tune with the person you see standing across you in the mirror. And you're like, okay, you know what? Who is this person? There's a disconnect. And I think that's basically what might be called a midlife crisis. And at that point, you're like, okay, something is really wrong, and some major adjustments need to be made. Or you might be amongst those unfortunate ones who still, no matter how miserable you are in that space, but you still keep going and still keep pursuing that space. And you just are always in a very unhappy state of mind, because you never had the courage to figure out what exactly it is that makes your soul soar.
Yeah, and I tell this to my kids as well. I said, I'd rather, die trying to do things that I love doing than to die not trying, and always have in the back of my mind, I could have, or should have, or would have. And, you know, I've always supported my children's dreams, you know, that if this is what your heart's desire is, to go after it, you know, as long as it's legal, go for it.
Well, um, that's not easy as parents, and especially in my Southeast Asian community, it's very difficult for parents to just tell your kids that, hey, you know what, do what makes you happy, go after your passion, your dream. It's very difficult. For the longest time, I could not do that, and it took some real, you know, jaw dropping punches for me to be able to, you know, reach that point where I'm like, okay, you know what, whether I like it or I don't, but you know, my kids are meant to be who they are meant to be, and they're not going to become a product of my expectations. And I just have to, you know, adjust to it and accept it.
Yeah, I know culturally there's always going to be the challenge of, you know, this is what is expected, and do this and do this, and you'll have a house and you have a car and you have all this stuff like that. But I think today's generation, especially today's generation, there's so much access and so much information where the way we grew up, and especially the way our parents grew up, are almost counter culture to what our children are facing today. So I know I made, it wasn't, my older children, it wasn't easy. My younger children, yes, but my two olders, especially my oldest daughter, I wanted her to do this, and that, because she had so much potential, and you need to do this, and so on. And when she did not follow our script, I almost lost it. Like literally, I was like, I almost lost it. But then I realized this is her life. This is her choices. So I've learned throughout the years to become my children's advocate than my children's adversary.
Yeah.
So to help them realize that, you know, that this is what they're wanting to do, that I'll do my very best as a father to help support that.
So, Omar, you have your photographs were on the Newsweek magazine twice. That's a big accomplishment. How did you feel?
Actually, more than that, but the first time it was in Newsweek, I was a second shooter, so I didn't get any credit. I was assisting a photographer, a Pulitzer Prize winning photographer named Christopher Morris, and he was covering the Mondale Ferraro election in New York City. And so they were having, this was their, I think it was their election night. And so I was in the balcony with one camera, and he was down on the crowd, you know, getting close-ups and stuff like that. So I was with this big lens and just sitting there, just firing away. So I never got any credit for any of those pictures. But I had got two covers. I used to work for a studio called Gamma One in New York City, and we get a chance to photograph amazing pieces of artwork. And I got a chance to photograph two pieces of artwork that were just used for covers for Newsweek. And it was, I don't have my portfolio with me, but I still have the actual covers of the magazine. They're laminated, and I have the actual transparency, the film that we shot it in. It was really cool to see, you know, your work printed. When you get your stuff any, I don't care what kind of photographer you are or photography you do, when it gets published,
Yeah.
you see it in print, it just gives you goosebumps. I don't care if you're doing this 3 years or 30 years.
Yeah.
I just, like, before I left here, I got published in the magazine. And you know, this is still really cool. I still get the little warm feeling, and I was like, oh, somebody still loves me, you know. I still got it, you know.
Absolutely. So, Omar, what has been your most, first of all, someone is asking, what do you personally love to shoot? And what's your main subject?
I mean, I love shooting people, of course. I like working with new models. Like, they have no bad habits. Like, they're brand new and they're like a blank sheet of paper. So they're moldable and they don't have any bad habits. I just photographed a young lady the day before I left. I left on a Saturday. I shot on Friday, and she booked a model session. Never shot with a professional photographer. She came open-minded and all that, and she just did an amazing job. And she left me such a wonderful review, but it was really her trusting the process and just kind of like believing in, just like, I never thought I could look this good in a photograph. Those are great words. I don't, you know, again, you know, people could choose whoever they want. But when you build a relationship and you start seeing the results and you start looking at it and you start seeing yourself different, and you get this kind of confidence.
Yeah.
That's what I really enjoy photography. I've helped young people gain confidence because they might be different looking than others. They might be taller than others. They've been called names because they're just exotic looking. And they, you know, in school, I remember doing a photo shoot for a young, at that time, she's now in college, she's about to graduate college, but she was in, I think she was in the 7th or 8th grade. And she was long and lanky and all this stuff like that. And her mom asked me, can I do a shoot for her, a tween shoot for her to help her feel confident? And we did this beautiful shoot for her. And she looked at that photos and I could see her eyes just light up and her smiles like, is that me? She was like, is that me? I said, that's you. That's all you, girl. And her confidence just, you just could see it grow. And now she's, you know, a grad. I don't know if she's in grad school or not, but I did something for her a few years ago, getting into college, and she's grown into this beautiful young woman. And to see that confidence just kind of grow. That's what I love. That's what I love.
Again, the ability to be able to just transform someone and change, you know, their lives, the space that they're in at that moment in time.
Absolutely. I mean, my daughter, one of my daughters is a professional model, and I remember when she first came to me and asked me, should I be a model? Should I pursue modeling? I said, well, you know, I'll help support you, obviously. And I told her all the pitfalls of the industry and all the challenges of the industry. And I said, it's a very harsh industry because it's basically all based on what you look like. They won't know who you are in here. They only know you right here. So you have to be stronger than just the photo. You have to believe more in yourself, and you have to pursue, you have to become a deeper person, because photography, being a model, sometimes prohibits you being deep. You're just kind of like you're just there. So, and she has done that. So she does more than modeling, obviously, but she's learned the power of photography. She learned the power of modeling and fashion and all that. So it's a great industry. I do encourage young men and women, to pursue it. It's hard. It's hard work. Teaches a lot about yourself. And I think the lessons learned will carry on in your future venues, like whether you go into a business or you go into the corporate world or college and so on. I think it's a good thing to do to at least do some sort of modeling or fashion work.
What has been the highest the highest moment of your life in photography?
My plateau? I haven't reached it yet. I haven't been there yet. I mean, I've got some great highlights. I think early on, I was very fortunate, like right out the gate. I got to work with Neiman Marcus, and I worked through their buyers department. So every major department store has buyers. They buy fashion work. They buy the line of designers. So they go to their private showrooms to see their latest collections before they even hit the runway. So I got to shoot for one of a New York City Neiman Marcus buyers, and through them I got to photograph designer lines for Perry Ellis, Christian Dior, Calvin Klein, Estee Lauder, Judith Lieber, just amazing access. And so that was kind of like my first real big job. And I think second was, there's so many, photographing Emmett Smith for MetLife. That was pretty cool. No, Mutual of Omaha, not MetLife. Mutual of Omaha. We did an ad for him. And looking for more of that, I'm looking for more highlights, more magazine covers, more opportunity to work with talent. So I look at it. Let me just say this. I've been in it so long. I'm not overly like doo-doo, Now I think of like, someone like President Obama call me or Michelle Obama call me and say, hey, we want to hire you for a portrait session. I'll be nervous. Would love to, but that would be kind of like a highlight for me. Something like that.
I completely understand. Just like my podcast, if I get a call from them and they would like to be on my podcast.
You never do the whole thing, but I'm going to try to do it.
You can do the photo shoot. I can do the interview.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Omar, we are in the last 6 minutes of our show. We have someone asking, do you do your own image editing?
I do. I get a ton of emails from retouchers, but I do I do my own retouching. It's kind of personal, because you're looking at your photo. I want you to say, Omar did that. Omar took it, created it, built it, and made it that way. That's my signature. I'm very close to my editing. There's only been a few opportunities. I do send some stuff out that, I'm way too back up, but 99% of the time I do my own retouching.
And they also want to know, do you like posing or do you have someone posing and shoot set design?
I teach posing, I'll tell you how to pose, especially, obviously if you don't know anything about
like posing. I did.
Yeah. I'm going to pose you. I'm going to set you. We're going to create the look for whatever we're doing. So the end result, again, I talked about return on investment. You made an investment on a branding shoot. So you need to get a return on that investment so that when people see your images, they start seeing, okay, she's professional, she's eloquent, she's exquisite, she's beautiful. All of these accolades will start flowing because spent the time and energy creating that photo. So yeah, I work with other models. You know, there's some models that know what they're doing, and you know, you just let them do what they're going to do. But most of the time, I'm a perfectionist. I like to mold the photo, mold the portrait, especially if it's a portrait. I want you to look a certain way, move your body a certain way, wear a certain kind of outfit. So I'm pretty much hands-on.
So, so Omar, don't forget that you're going to be doing photography for my 16-year-old once she is at that point and she's ready to go out into the modeling world, because that's what she hopes to do. So, and we had this discussion that it's, you know, it's not the best of environments or places to be in. But hopefully when she enters it, she's strong enough to be able to withstand you know, the negative aspects of that environment. Omar, what's your advice to people who want to enter the world of photography as well as modeling?
Well, let's start with modeling. I think because your daughter has, if your daughter is anything like you, I think she'll do okay. I think she'll do really, really well. It takes a village. You know, you really have to have an open mind to a lot of the possibilities, but also you have to be very, very active in their social media, because that's where a lot of the predators lie, and a lot of the scams lie in social media. They're out there reaching, you know, young men and women, you know, saying, oh, do this, do this, do this, and you're going to be successful. Meet us here at blah, 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 or send us your money, blah, 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 and we'll get you all this. There's a lot of promises out there, but the reality is it's a lot of work. There are a lot of pretty people. And if you look at any kind of major modeling agency's website, they're not necessarily pretty people. They're just unique people. Unique individuals that have a tremendous amount of sellability because they're selling a product. So my job is to kind of teach and show future models that they have to work on their sellability, how to sell a product. You know, you have a can of Coke, you know, can you sell that can of Coke? Or if you're wearing some Vans sneakers or some blue jeans, you need to be able to sell that. So good photographers can mentor and teach in a shoot, you know, young talent that way. And for all those who want to, you know, to get into photography, I think everyone is already a photographer. If you own one of these, you join the 7 billion people that are photographers out there. This is actually my main competition, is the cell phone. You know, because people like, well, I could just take it on my phone. And so as that's becoming more and more acceptable, that really endangers my industry, you know, where quality is not a premium, it's just access. Yeah. So, you know, I have to sell quality. I have to work on quality that the cell phone can't do. And so that's my only differential. So if you're stepping into photography, really practice. You got to practice. You know, it's not about the gear. You can get a $300 camera and do amazing work. It's just really practice lighting, practice posing, composition, and so on. So if anyone's interested in wanting to know more, they can find me on Facebook or Instagram.
So, Omar, we are at 5 o'clock. I'm going to let you tell people where they can find you. You know, whatever, it's your moment to pitch. Tell people what what you can do for them.
Well, again, thank everyone that tuned in. I hope you enjoyed the interview, and you can find me on Instagram at Photos by Omar. On Facebook, Omar Ramos Photography or Omar Ramos, and also on LinkedIn, Omar Ramos Photography. So or Google me, you know, Google Omar Ramos Photography. You can find out a lot about me. see my work and so on. I'm always willing to talk about photography and hopefully help someone and mentor someone in their passion. So appreciate everyone's time. I hope to hear from you guys and see you guys soon.
And soon, hopefully, I get my act together and get my website completed, saimadillon.com, where you will be able to see some more of the photography done by Omar, and which will be on my website. Omar, thank you for being here. It's it's honor and a privilege, and it's wonderful getting to spend this time together, getting to know people and like yourself. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Saima. Thank you for what you're doing, and continued success with your show.
Thank you, Omar.
Bye-bye.
So on that note, friends, as always, this is an hour that I look forward to. It's an opportunity for me to learn from others and bring fabulous people on the show, extraordinary people on the show, and just learn from them. So on that note, once again, thank you so much for carving out the time to hear what was shared on today's podcast. If this inspired you to take the next step in your journey, then I want to invite you to join my email list by emailing vip@saimadillon.com. And of course, if you know this podcast episode can help someone else, then help me change lives. Just take 30 seconds to simply share the link to the podcast in a text or in a post on social media, and I will be so grateful. Until next time, thank you for watching.